The first time my mother showed up at my apartment unannounced, I was in my underwear, halfway through a therapy session on Zoom, ugly crying about childhood trauma while my therapist guided me through a breathing exercise.
The doorbell rang.
Then insistent knocking. Then my phone started buzzing with texts. I'm outside. Open up. I brought you groceries. I never asked for groceries. I never said she could visit. My name is Jordan. I'm 31 years old, and I just learned that my family didn't respect my boundaries because I never made them actually face consequences for crossing them. That realization cost me 2 years of therapy, one major breakdown, and nearly losing the best relationship I've ever had.
But it also saved my life.
Growing up in my family, boundaries didn't exist. We were close. That's what my mother always said when people commented on how involved she was in every aspect of our lives. We're just a close family. We tell each other everything. Except we didn't tell each other things. She extracted information. She showed up unannounced. She went through our rooms, cleaning, and found our journals, our letters, our private thoughts. She made decisions about our lives without consulting us because a mother knows best. My older sister Emma handled it by moving 3 states away the second she turned 18 and maintaining surface-level contact. My younger brother Kyle handled it by becoming exactly what Mom wanted, engaged to a woman Mom picked out, working at Dad's company, living 2 streets over. I handled it by trying to set boundaries and having them completely ignored. Mom, I need you to call before coming over. Don't be silly, I'm your mother. I don't need permission to see my own child. Dad, please don't share my personal business with a whole family. We don't keep secrets in this family. What's the big deal? I need some space to figure things out on my own. Space? From your family? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Every boundary I tried to set was met with the same response: dismissed, invalidated, or turned around to make me the problem. I was too sensitive, too private, too influenced by all that therapy nonsense. And because they never faced actual consequences for ignoring my boundaries, they kept doing it. The grocery incident happened 6 months ago. I'd been in therapy for a year, finally processing some childhood stuff, and I'd asked my mother not to visit without calling first. I'm working from home now, I'd explained. I have meetings throughout the day. I need advance notice if you're coming over. She'd agreed, said she understood, then showed up 3 days later at 10 a.m. while I was mid-session, talking about my mother's inability to see me as a separate person with my own emotional needs. The irony was not lost on me. I paused the session, threw on a robe, and opened the door. My mother stood there with reusable grocery bags, beaming. Surprise! I got those crackers you like, and I picked up some of that fancy cheese from Jordan. Why do you look upset? Were you sleeping at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday? I was in a therapy session. Oh. She waved her hand dismissively. Well, you can do that later. Help me put these away. I want to organize your pantry. I saw last time that it's a mess. Something inside me cracked. Mom, I asked you to call before coming over. I know, honey, but I was at the store and thought of you. I was in the middle of something important. You can't just show up whenever you want. I'm your mother. I'm bringing you groceries. Most people would say, thank you. I didn't ask for groceries. I asked for you to respect my boundaries. Her face shifted from cheerful to hurt in an instant. I can't believe you're making such a big deal about this. I'm trying to help you. I don't want this kind of help. I want you to call first. Fine. She set the bags down heavily. I'll just take these back then. I wouldn't want to impose on you, with my terrible mothering. She left in a huff, and I went back to my therapy session shaking. How do you feel? My therapist asked. Guilty, angry, exhausted. Like I'm the bad guy for asking for basic respect. Did you notice what happened there? She made it about her. About me being ungrateful instead of about her ignoring my boundary. And what were the consequences for her ignoring your boundary? I thought about it.
Nothing.
She got to deliver the groceries, make her point, leave as the wounded party, and I felt guilty. There were no actual consequences. So, what message does that send? That my boundaries don't matter. that there's no reason for her to respect them because nothing bad happens when she doesn't. That conversation started a shift in my thinking. My therapist introduced me to a concept. Boundaries without consequences are just suggestions. I'd been setting boundaries for years, asking people to call first, requesting privacy, saying no to unwanted help. But when they ignored those boundaries, I never actually enforced them. I'd feel frustrated, explain again why the boundary mattered, maybe give them the silent treatment for a day. But nothing changed, because I never made them face real consequences. The next test came 2 weeks later. My parents had a key to my apartment for emergencies. I'd asked for it back multiple times, but my mother always had an excuse. What if something happens and we need to get in? What if you lock yourself out? Why would you not want your parents to have access? I came home from work one evening to find my mother in my apartment, refolding my laundry. "What are you doing here?" She looked up, surprised. "I came by to grab that casserole dish I left here last month, and I noticed you'd left laundry in the dryer. I didn't want it to wrinkle." "How did you get in?" "I used my key, obviously." My heart was pounding. "Mom, this is my home. You can't just let yourself in when I'm not here. Don't be dramatic. I'm your mother. Give me the key back. Right now." Her expression hardened. "Absolutely not. What if there's an emergency? Then you call 911 like everyone else. Give me the key, or I'm changing the locks tomorrow." "You wouldn't dare." "Watch me." We stared at each other. Finally, she pulled the key off her keyring and slammed it on the counter.
"Fine.
But when you lock yourself out, don't come crying to me." She left. I immediately called a locksmith anyway and had all the locks changed. It cost $200 I didn't really have, but it was worth it. My mother didn't speak to me for a week. Then she called, crying, saying I'd hurt her deeply by not trusting her. That changing the locks was a slap in the face. That she was just trying to be helpful. I almost caved. Almost apologized. But my therapist's words echoed. Boundaries without consequences are just suggestions. "I'm sorry you're hurt," I said carefully. "But I need my home to be my space. You're welcome to visit when you call first, and I invite you over." "This is what therapy has done to you," she spat. "Turned you against your own family." She hung up. The guilt was overwhelming. I called Emma, who I rarely talked to, desperate for someone to tell me I wasn't crazy. "You changed the locks?" Emma laughed. Actually laughed. "Good for you. I had to move to Colorado to get that kind of boundary." "You don't think I'm overreacting?" "Jordan." Mom used to read my diary and then confront me about what I'd written. She went through my bank statements and lectured me about my spending. She told my college boyfriend about my anxiety medication without asking me. I moved across the country because it was the only way to have a life she couldn't control. I didn't know it was that bad for you, too. She does it to everyone. Kyle just accepts it because it's easier. But you're trying to have a relationship with them while also having boundaries, and that's harder than what I did. I admire it. But it only works if you actually enforce the boundaries. She's not speaking to me. She'll get over it. Or she won't. But either way, you'll have your locks changed. Emma's support helped. But things got worse before they got better. A month later, I started dating someone. His name was Marcus, and he was kind, respectful, and had a healthy relationship with his own family. He'd told his parents about me early on, and they'd responded with interest and support, not interrogation. I waited 3 months before mentioning him to my family. I kept it casual at Sunday dinner, a tradition I still attended weekly despite my therapist's suggestion that maybe I didn't have to. "I've been seeing someone," I said. "His name is Marcus. We met through friends." My mother's eyes lit up in a way that made my stomach drop.
"Oh."
"Tell me everything. What does he do? Where's he from? When can we meet him?" "It's still pretty new. I'll let you know when we're ready for family introductions." "Don't be silly. We should meet him right away. Why don't you bring him to dinner next Sunday?" "We're not ready for that yet. How will we know if he's good enough for you if we don't meet him?" "Mom, no. When we're ready, I'll let you know. I'm your mother. I have a right to meet the people in your life. You have a right to meet him when I decide to introduce you, not before." She looked wounded. My father jumped in. Your mother just cares about you. Why are you being so defensive? I'm not being defensive. I'm setting a boundary. Kyle, trying to be helpful, added, just bring him next week.
Get it over with.
Mom's going to make a big deal about it until you do. That's exactly the problem, I said. Mom makes a big deal about things until I cave. I'm not caving this time. The dinner ended awkwardly. I went home frustrated. The next evening, I was at Marcus's apartment when my phone started blowing up. My mother had found Marcus on social media. I still don't know how. I'd never mentioned his last name. Sent him a friend request and messaged him directly. The message read, "Hi Marcus. I'm Jordan's mother, Linda. I'm so excited to hear you're dating my child. I'd love to get to know you. Why don't you come to family dinner this Sunday? I'm making pot roast." I felt violated.
Angry.
Humiliated. Marcus, to his credit, handled it gracefully. I didn't accept or respond. I figured you'd want to handle it. I'm so sorry. This is exactly the kind of thing I was afraid of. It's not your fault, but it is a lot. I called my mother immediately. You contacted Marcus on Facebook? I just wanted to introduce myself. I was being friendly. I specifically said we weren't ready for family introductions. You went behind my back and contacted him directly. That's completely inappropriate. I'm not allowed to be friendly to someone you're dating. Not when I've explicitly asked you not to contact him. This is exactly why I don't tell you things, because you can't respect boundaries. Oh, please. You're overreacting. I sent a simple message. You violated my privacy and my relationship. Do not contact him again. Or what? The question hung there. Or what? What would I actually do? Or I won't be at Sunday dinner, I said. Or any dinner until you apologize and commit to respecting my boundaries. You're going to skip family dinner over this? That's childish. That's my consequence. Respect my boundaries or I won't come around.
Fine.
Don't come. See if I care. She hung up. I didn't go to Sunday dinner. Or the next one. Or the one after that. My mother called after the first missed dinner, saying she couldn't believe I was punishing the whole family over one little thing. I didn't answer. My father texted, "Your mother is very upset. This seems extreme." I responded. I set a clear boundary. She violated it. I told her the consequence. I'm following through. Kyle called. Come on, Jordan. Just apologize so things can go back to normal. I'm not apologizing for enforcing a boundary. You're making everything weird. Mom's upset, Dad's stressed, and these dinners suck without you to run interference. Then maybe tell Mom to respect my boundaries so I'll come back. You know she won't. You're being stubborn. I'm being consistent. 3 weeks passed. My mother sent a few guilt-trippy texts about how I was missing family time and hurting everyone. I didn't respond. Then she showed up at my workplace. I worked at a nonprofit doing grant writing. It was a small office, casual environment, and I'd never had family visit before. I was in the middle of drafting a proposal when the receptionist called. Jordan? Your mom is here to see you. My stomach dropped. I went to the lobby, and there she was, holding flowers. Surprise. I thought we could go to lunch. I was aware of my coworkers watching, of my boss in his office nearby, of the professional environment I'd worked hard to maintain. I'm working, Mom. You can't just show up at my job. I wanted to talk to you. You won't answer my calls. Because I told you the terms for resuming communication. You haven't met them. This is ridiculous. You're my child. I shouldn't have to apologize for caring about you. I'm asking you to leave. This is my workplace. Not until we talk about this. You're being unreasonable. My boss emerged from his office. Is everything okay, Jordan? I was mortified. Yes, my mother was just leaving. I'm not leaving until... Ma'am, my boss said firmly. This is a workplace. If Jordan has asked you to leave, you need to leave. My mother's face flushed red. She thrust the flowers at me.
Fine.
But this isn't over. She left. I stood there shaking, holding wilting carnations, wanting to disappear. My boss pulled me aside. Are you okay? Do we need to implement any security measures? I'm so sorry. This has never happened before. It won't happen again. It's not your fault. But if your family continues to show up here, let me know. We take workplace safety seriously. I went home that evening and blocked my mother's number, then my father's, then Kyle's. I sent a group text first. I asked for one thing, to respect my boundaries. Instead, Mom showed up at my workplace and created a scene. I'm taking a break from all contact. When you're ready to respect my boundaries and apologize, you can email me. Until then, I need space. Then I blocked them all. The silence was immediate and deafening. No texts, no calls, no unexpected visits. For the first time in my life, my boundaries were actually being respected because I'd finally enforced consequences that mattered. But the guilt was crushing. I felt like a terrible person, like I was punishing my family too harshly, like I should just answer their calls and smooth things over. Marcus found me crying on my couch 3 days later. I cut off my family. You set boundaries and enforced consequences, he corrected gently. That's different. They probably hate me. They probably don't know what to do with you. You've never actually followed through before, have you?
No.
So, they didn't believe you. They thought if they pushed hard enough, you'd cave like you always did. You didn't. Now they're learning a new pattern. What if they never reach out? Then you'll know they valued control more than a relationship with you.
That thought terrified me, but it was also clarifying.
I threw myself into therapy, into work, into my relationship with Marcus. I spent time with friends who respected my boundaries without me having to enforce them with nuclear options. I started to remember what it felt like to be around people who actually listened when I said no. 2 months passed with zero contact from my family. Then I got an email from Emma. Subject: checking in. Hey Jordan, Kyle told me what happened. Mom's version of events is wild. Apparently you attacked her at your workplace, and she's the victim. But I wanted to check if you're okay. Going no contact is hard. I did it for a year when I first moved, and it was the loneliest time of my life. But also necessary. Let me know if you need support. I wrote back, and Emma and I started talking regularly for the first time in years. She shared her own stories of boundary violations and the consequences she'd had to enforce. Moving across the country, missing holidays, letting Mom cry on the phone without trying to fix it. The thing about Mom, Emma said during one call, is that she doesn't hear no until there are consequences she can't ignore. Words mean nothing. You have to actually follow through. I feel so guilty, though. Of course you do. She trained you to feel guilty for having needs. That's how she maintained control. Did she ever apologize to you? Not really. She rug-swept mostly. Called me one day like nothing had happened and started planning a visit. I had to set new boundaries all over again. But over time, she learned I was serious. Now she mostly respects my boundaries because she knows I'll actually disappear if she doesn't. That's so sad, though, that it has to be that way. It is. But it's sadder to live your whole life being controlled by someone who claims to love you. 3 months in, I got an email from my father. Jordan, your mother wants to talk. She misses you. We all miss you. Can we meet for coffee? I sat with that email for a week before responding. I talked it through with my therapist and with Marcus. What do you need to hear from them before you're willing to resume contact? My therapist asked. An apology. A real one. And a commitment to respect my boundaries going forward. And if they can't give you that, then I stay no contact. I wrote back to my father. I'm willing to meet with Mom, but only if she's prepared to genuinely apologize and commit to respecting my boundaries. If she just wants to rug sweep or make me feel guilty, I'm not interested. He responded. She wants to make things right. We met at a coffee shop halfway between our places. My mother looked smaller than I remembered. Tired. We sat across from each other in uncomfortable silence. Finally, she spoke. I don't understand why you're doing this. I told you. I need you to respect my boundaries. I do respect your boundaries. I just think some of them are unreasonable. And there it was. The fundamental disconnect. Mom, You don't get to decide which of my boundaries are reasonable. You can disagree with them, but you have to respect them if you want a relationship with me. So, I'm just supposed to accept that I need permission to see my own child? That I can't meet the person you're dating? That I can't help you when I want to?
Yes.
That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Because I'm an adult with my own life, and your access to that life is a privilege, not a right. Her face hardened. I'm your mother. I'll always be your mother. You can't just cut me out. I can, though. And I have been for 3 months. This only changes if you're willing to actually respect my boundaries. This is what that therapist put in your head. This is what I've been trying to tell you for years. You just never listened because there were never consequences. We sat in tense silence. So what? My mother finally said, you're just going to stay away forever? Miss holidays? Miss family events? All because I won't follow your arbitrary rules.
They're not arbitrary. They're basic respect. Call before visiting.
Don't contact people in my life without permission. Don't show up at my workplace. These are normal boundaries that most people respect without being told. Most people aren't cutting off their families. Most people's families don't violate their boundaries repeatedly after being asked to stop. My mother stood up. I came here hoping we could fix this. But you've made it clear you care more about boundaries than your own family.
Fine.
Don't come back. Don't call. We'll be just fine without you. She left. I sat there, shaking, fighting tears. This was it. The final break. I texted Marcus. It didn't work. She's not willing to change. His response, I'm sorry.
Come home.
I'll be here. That evening, my father called. I answered. Your mother is very upset. I know. She thinks you want nothing to do with us. I want a relationship where my boundaries are respected. That's all I've ever wanted. She's your mother, Jordan. She's never going to be perfect. I'm not asking for perfect. I'm asking for basic respect.
He sighed.
What would it take for you to come back? A genuine apology. A commitment to respecting my boundaries. And actual changed behavior, not just promises. I'll talk to her. A week later, I got another email from my father. Your mother has agreed to start seeing a therapist. She wants to understand why this matters so much to you. Will you consider family therapy with her? I was skeptical. This felt like another manipulation. But my therapist encouraged me to at least try. The worst-case scenario is it doesn't work and you continue no contact. The best-case scenario is you get a relationship with boundaries. You have nothing to lose. I agreed to family therapy with my mother. 1 session to start. The first session was rough. My mother cried. She talked about how hurt she was, how I'd rejected her, how she'd only ever tried to help. The therapist, a woman named Dr. Chen, listened patiently. Then she asked, Linda, can you tell me what Jordan's boundaries are? My mother floundered. She doesn't want me to visit without calling. What else? She doesn't want me to have a key to her apartment. What else? I don't know. There are so many rules. Dr. Chen turned to me. Jordan, can you list your boundaries? Call before visiting. Don't let yourself into my home without permission. Don't contact people in my life without my okay. Don't show up at my workplace. Respect my privacy. Those seem like reasonable boundaries for an adult child, Dr. Chen observed. They're limiting, my mother protested. How so? I can't just drop by to see my child. I can't help when I want to. I can't be involved in their life. You can be involved, Dr. Chen said gently. Jordan is asking you to be involved in ways that respect their autonomy. That's different from not being involved at all. We spent weeks in therapy. Slowly, painfully, my mother started to understand. Or, at least, she started to understand that I was serious. That I wouldn't back down. That she had to choose, respect my boundaries or lose me entirely. She started calling before visiting. She stopped showing up unannounced. When she slipped up, and she did, several times, I enforced consequences. Missed a dinner. Didn't answer calls for a week. Maintained my boundaries. And slowly, she learned that I meant what I said. 6 months after that disastrous coffee shop meeting, my mother and I had dinner at her house. Just the two of us. She'd called 2 days in advance to invite me. She'd asked if there were any foods I didn't want her to make. She'd respected every boundary. Over dinner, she said something that surprised me. I hated therapy at first. I thought it was you poisoning Dr. Chen against me. But she helped me see something. What's that? That I was so afraid of losing you that I was holding on too tight. And the tighter I held, the more you pulled away. The boundaries you set aren't rejecting me. They're giving us a way to have a relationship where you don't feel suffocated. Yeah, I said softly. That's exactly it. I still don't like all of them. I still think some are unnecessary. But I'm trying to understand that it doesn't matter if I agree with them. What matters is that they're important to you. That means a lot, Mom. I'm sorry, she said, and her voice cracked. I'm sorry for violating your privacy, for showing up at your work, for contacting Marcus, for all of it. I'm sorry it took losing you for me to hear you. I'd waited years to hear those words. Thank you. We're not perfect now.
She still pushes sometimes.
I still have to remind her of boundaries. But she backs off when I do. She apologizes when she crosses lines. She's learning. Because I finally taught her that my boundaries have teeth. Marcus and I got engaged last month. When I told my family, my mother's first question wasn't, "When can we meet to plan?" Or, "What can I do to help?" It was, "What do you need from us?" That question, that simple respect for my autonomy, meant everything. I spent 31 years trying to set boundaries with words alone. Explaining, justifying, pleading. And it never worked because there was never a reason for anyone to listen. It wasn't until I enforced real consequences, missing dinners, blocking numbers, cutting contact entirely, that my boundaries became real. It almost destroyed my relationship with my family. But it also saved it. Because a relationship where I had to accept violations just to maintain contact wasn't really a relationship. It was hostage negotiation. Now we have something better. Imperfect, still fragile, but real. And it only happened because I learned the hardest lesson. Boundaries without consequences are just suggestions. If you want people to respect your boundaries, you have to be willing to enforce them. Even when it costs you everything. Especially when it costs you everything. Because you're worth the cost.